Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! It's time yet again for another ESL Go4Battlerite tournament, this time number 21 of its kind. My name is still TJ, and I'm still joined by the wonderful, the only Shadow Fury. Drop Bar still sitting on production as we get into Battlerite's production of the tournament today, or tonight, depending on your time zones. For this opening match, Shadow, I'm actually amazed this match has happened so early. These tournaments have been stacked for several weeks in a row, but this might be our best opener yet.
Yeah, coming out immediately with, Broken Commissari, of course, should be known by anyone who follows the scene at all, because we have, Randler being the awesome healer they are, 2 and 3, just handling most of the front lines, and Xanox doing the range damage. This is your standard Fortress setup with, healer, someone in front to stop someone in the back to deal damage. As for WLG Battlerite, I'm not as familiar with them. EX Black, I know. I've seen them for a while. But Gudo and Dust 11 Warrior are not as familiar to me. Have you heard of them, TJ?
Well, Elvin, I believe, he was around during the early days of Battlerite competitive. I mean, he doesn't really ring a bell with me, but I know he's been around. I know he's been competing. Haven't really heard of Gudo. EX Black, of course, is the quintessential Pearl player for a long time, which makes me feel nice on the inside.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, maybe we're all wrong, as we do get into the picks. We decided on a map. The picks will be coming through in a few moments. We'll be able to get into Mount Era's Night in just a few moments. Briefly, though, how do you feel about Mount Era's Night?
It's tiny. In threes, it's been rather popular for some reason. It's very difficult to maneuver around when you have 3 people going around there. Mostly people just get caught in the northeast corner and die. Or sometimes not. But usually it's caught in the northeast corner and then it's just this mashing fight where no one really quite gets anywhere until someone dies. Usually someone gets stuck against the wall and then they get completely blown up by the other team. So I'm not a big fan of this map in threes.
We do have 2 different teams, both of whom I'd assume are looking to capitalise on those walls, notably the Brook picked up by Dust Elven and Xanox running that Freya, but overall these are 2 very interesting comps.
Yeah, we're seeing more Jade, which I'm not entirely surprised by after the last patch. She did get buffed a fair bit. And as for... was Xanox not really playing much of a tanky character? It's still something that peels, but... yeah, this is not really falling into any of the old archetypes. Closest to the Fortress archetype, but it's even then... I don't know, Xanox is more just running peel than actual tank.
Yeah, to look at the other side, watch Gudo here, because he's picked up Sirius as the healer. That's kind of an interesting pick, because that'll allow him to combine kind of terrifyingly with Dust Elven. You have the stuns, you have the incaps that can come through for that, then you have EX Black, he can chime in as well. The burst potential right now over on WLG is terrifying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Xanox is going to help deal with that, but 2 and 3 might have to do a lot of work for dealing with all this stuff, since there's... oh. Apparently Gudo didn't have a chance to connect properly. But anyway, 2 and 3, they should be able to deal with that, though. Jumong does have several options to deal with someone trying to be sticky to them. And Sirius can only be so sticky if you don't trigger their counter. Well,
he's back in the game, so we will get to see all the stickiness of the Sirius, and I do believe all the rights have been picked, so we should be getting into the game in just a few moments. If just based on these comps, and of course the players on both sides, nail down a prediction.
I'm thinking it's gonna be somewhat even. I feel like by the numbers and by the teams, it'll probably end up being WLG with a slight lead. But I also know Broken Commissari a lot better, so I'm a bit biased towards them winning.
Well, let's keep an eye on it as the Scorpions ride into battle for 2 and 3. It's a new comp. I think already some aggressive push from both sides. Gudo, notably on that serious roll, will commit, but he's going to be in-capped as his counter's not popped now. The panic comes through. That's a ton of early damage onto Gudo.
on. EX Black holding pretty hard. Pushing hard. Dust Elvin, though, forced back as a result of being a bit too forward at the beginning, and Gudo basically alone in a 1v3.
Oh, no! That was some insane burst that came through there. EX Black now. And the corner needs to find a way to work his way out without hitting all the counters possible, and he's not doing that at all as the Thunder Strike comes through. He's dropped down to no HP. Dust Elvin barely any better, indeed worse off as he falls. That was just the tale of overcommits, wasn't it?
Well, started with Dust 11. I mean, they had a decent idea. It's just that they were still fighting 2v1. And against a Freya, that's not terribly easy. And then, of course, you have 2 and 3 and EX Black going at it together, but EX Black didn't quite manage to do as much damage as they needed to, so 2 and 3 got ahead on that fight. And then, once Dust 11 didn't have any more HP left, obviously, that just left EX Black and Gudo to fight essentially on their own, because there's not much Rook can do when they're that out of the fight, and they're so far away, they can't do much. Most of their attacks are melee. They only have Meat Bolt to deal with anything at a distance.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if they perhaps learn from that, pull back a bit more at the start of this round, and so far EX Black's taken a bit of early damage, and he'll be moving kind of aggressively now. There's the push coordinated as the team moves in. Gudo leading the charge, however, Dust 11 will be scared off. There's the rain of arrows, there's tons of damage going through onto Gudo and EX Black as Xanox leads the charge over on the Broken Cop side. Orb will be picked up though by Dust 11, that gives them an opportunity in the round. Dust 11 can keep his HP up, and the answer to that is not at all as the 3-man focus comes through, and he just melts Randler. Now tries to pay attention to this Jade in the backline, however Gudo will try and draw attention with his own ultimate. Doesn't appear like it's going to happen though, and it's looking entirely awful for EX Black.
The focus on 2 and 3 has been strong, but it's not been enough, and Xanox also getting focused, but neither player has gotten focused enough, obviously, to cause a kill, and this is going to be the thing that basically loses the game for WLG at this rate. I mean, they still have a chance, it's just, it has been 2v3, now 3v1. That seems unlikely.
I believe in Gudo. If anyone can do it, it's Gudo. Legendary, serious player, easily the best in the world. And no, unfortunately. You know, I'm a great motivational speaker, but motivation can only go so far. In this case...
Especially when they can't hear you.
Yeah, no, that also is a big limiting factor on motivation. In this case, Broken Comp, do win. And WLG are still looking kind of over-aggressive on some of their characters. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, but it's tough given what they have. I mean, Gudo and Dust 11 have to be close to their opponents in order to actually do any damage. The only one who can stay at a distance is EX Black.
Gudo, like you call, diving in. Now there's coordinated focus coming through, or trying to. Over on the WLG side, but it's not working out at all as they're all isolated. Elvin especially, he's got no HP remaining. The smoke veil heals him up a little bit. As Berserker's pops and he does get Orb for his side. Give them an opportunity, at least in the round, but as the rain of arrows in the meantime does come down on EX Black's Jade, it's uncomfortably low HP across the board.
Oh, wow. Gudo going for the healing off the Astral Beam, not even going for the attack at all, just wants to keep EX Black alive, but it's not going to work. EX Black's one shot away from death, and Dust 11 go down as well. There's not much left to say for this. It's been just a mechanical show, really. Yeah,
I think there's something to be said for the lack of coordination over on WLG. They seem to be consistently kind of running in and each taking a 1v1. Whereas Broken Comp go, oh, you're extending right into the fight? That's fun. Let's all shift towards you. Let's all focus towards you. And you get this guy trying to take a 1v1 and he ends up taking a 1v3.
Yeah, which that's a common thing you gotta get out of early on. I'm a bit surprised that we are seeing that out of WLG, but also I'm noticing that WLG is just not hitting as much as Broken Comp Sorry is. They're just not getting as many shots in, not getting as much damage in permanently. Nothing's really sticking.
Yeah,
it doesn't help that Sirius doesn't have any shields.
Now look at how passive WLG are playing. They've learned entirely the wrong lessons from this, and you can see the payoff because EX Black's tied up in the front. Elvin yet again in the centre of 3 players, and you can see the cost of that. You cannot charge 1v3. Otherwise that happens to you. You just get obliterated. Gudo will be next. There's the ultimate. It will land. Nice snap by 213 onto EX Black. Now the ultimate available for EX Black, but he might not get a chance to use it because his teammate's fallen in the tripling goo, and he's burned all his EX to try and stay alive. It doesn't work out at all, and there's match point now. Broken Com.
And I'm just here for fun.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed with the new patch, for those of you not familiar, which you might, if you haven't played the game in a while, you might not be, there has been a patch which changed most of the left mouse button attacks for characters, for ranged characters at least, to be generally slower but a little bit heavier. So each individual attack is dealing more damage, but they come less frequently, and usually the character has to move slower when using it. Not a complete stop like Bloodline Champions, but still slower. And that forces you to really think about what it is that you're doing for every single shot. You can't just spam out shots, otherwise your opponent will be able to hit you as you're doing your shots and not really able to move too much. But if you're not hitting them, it's not worth it. Or they can throw out counters as well, as we see that happening a lot. With Jade, it's a bit surprising, considerably surprising, since she used to be able to just throw out her shots with no care in the world.
Lord secured early in this round for WLG, but they've taken so much damage so early. Yet again, it's costing them. EX Black and Dust Elven, the primary focuses. That hasn't changed. There's a snipe from EX Black as he dives deep into the backlines and tries to play this kind of flank position. Now he'll be grouped up and there will be a crippling goo flying in, but the channeling ultimate, there's no outs for Gudo. He finally escapes, but his teammate, his liege, Dust Elven, whom he should have been healing, will fall, and now it's looking unlikely. EX Black needs to do something incredible. He's got most of his ultimate, but in a 1v3 as he's currently, I don't see it working out. Gudo comes in, but it's entirely too late for both that round and the game. WLG Battlerite do fall, and Broken Com Sorry will advance throughout the bracket.
That was my prediction down the tubes. I mean, to be honest, though, what WLG was not entirely known to me. I wasn't sure. Maybe they were really good. And apparently Broken Comsari is way better.
Guide me as I guide
Absolutely.
them.
And that was just, I mean, is there even a way to pin down what went wrong that match? I suspect...
we were talking about it. It was getting into really unfavorable positions. It wasn't splitting up the opposing team. It was trying to deal with basically everything they had without actually thinking about what they were exactly doing, what they had available. I felt there was a lot of times where we were seeing counters popped or thunderclaps or other moves to get out of the way when it was plays coming in there, and there wasn't any major multiple plays or use of Lunar Strike to set up a bunch of petrified enemies to then make 3v1s or 3v2s locally. I mean, attempts were made for Lunar Strike, for sure. It just didn't really work out. It felt like a lot of it was not getting used to the higher speed of every character, and then not from there getting used to how to adjust your aim and how to adjust your placement and how to be more predictive about things, or how to try to checkmate your opponents into bad situations, which you kind of have to do nowadays. It's subtly different, but it is worth noting. That is a thing that has to be considered now.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to kind of watch the effects of the patch as this tournament continues. Elsewhere in the bracket, teams that have been already knocked out. Telrosk Me knocked out Bobzilla forever.
What? Telrosk?
Telrosk Me knocked out Bobzilla forever, he said, as if
Oh,
for
they
emphasis.
knocked out Buck. Okay, I was really confused for a second, thinking,
And
how
advanced
did
to play
Telrosk Me
against...
drop in round one?
Advanced to play against Intolerant. Broken Com Sorry, of course, just beat out WLG Battlerite. HG Buster Ghost did beat out Laura Manlanden and advanced to play Bruce Lee, who will in turn be advancing to play Mikamo Down if they win that match, because Mikamo Down did just knock out Fortress without haste. Currently ongoing without Origins Battlerite and You Choose 3v3 and Ublub versus 24k Magic. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back with the rest of the tournament, those games and more, as we continue with our excellent tournament today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're still sitting down in our wonderful Battlerite Esports lounge, but now we have one hell of a match coming up. I feel spoiled. Is that fair, Shadow?
Yes, that's fair. This is a wonderful match that I'm very glad we managed to get to.
I'm actually more than a little spoiled. We are about to get into a match between Telrosk, me, and Intolerant. We're just waiting on a few different readies up from the members of the production staff. Ooh, that was a hard word to get out. And now that we have, we'll be just seeing the champion picks. Telrosk, me, versus Intolerant. Without getting too into the comps, pick a winner. I dare you.
That's unfair.
Pick a winner. I dare you. Because these two teams are so close, they're so good. Telrosk, me, they've been out of the action for a while. They haven't really played in the threes scene yet, but they have such a unique, fun-to-watch, explosive style.
Yeah, of course, on the other hand, Intolerant we've seen so many times, and I mean, their setup is actually very similar to the one we just saw that came out of WLG Battlerite, come to think of it. This is going to be very educational. I want to see how this works, because I don't expect we're going to see the same same collapse that we saw with with WLG Battlerite. Intolerant's going to be far better at knowing when to come in and when to stay back and how to coordinate dives onto single players. I think this is going to be a nice contrast. Yeah, that being said, though, I am rooting for Telrosk me. I'm just going to throw that out there.
You know
I really want to see them do well.
We have Teldo who might be joining the production staff here, so we're all a little biased. I've been chatting with him a fair bit recently. I don't want to go too far, but we're definitely a tad biased, so do keep that in mind as we get into the action. Teldo opens up with his trademark combo. There's Barosk and Teldo already doing massive damage onto Nye, actually.
Yeah, Nye's not going to be too terribly forced out of the action, though. They are playing Iva. They don't have to stay that close to the fight. But still, it does make it a little bit harder for them to do any peels if they need to. But that's Jolt's job, so it should be fine.
Iska has ultimate, and will be proccing it right onto two members who were petrified, but he gets almost nothing on it. His Teldo's already deep in the backline. He's already got the stuns. He's already got the damage. That's huge damage coming through now onto Nye and Iska. They're both dropped down to specters of their former HP. We'll try and be an answer now onto the Jade, and elsewhere on the map, Mini's not having the time of his life as he gets dropped incredibly low. Now the boulder follow through will secure the kill, and the only question is, can the answer come lightning fast back? That counter on Iska might save his life, and if it does, this is now looking impossible for Telrosk, because they're down a healer. Venom Wind is available, and the outs were just used, so Venom Wind will guarantee one kill. There it is, flying out. Teldo, though, needs to convert another, or at least significant damage quickly, because they're losing that HP gain.
Oh, the disabling shot missing is... Okay, that worked out. At the very least, Teldo on there to deal with Feroz's misc. But still, this is... Oh, so close to getting the camouflage. Nice rush from Jolts to get him away from there. But Jolts is getting that situation set up that Veros doesn't have to worry too much about. I mean, Veros is staying in the back. It was still in Teldo's favor that entire time. It just seemed like Jolts, if they had the proper setup, it would have been very tight, but they might have been able to get Teldo on the ropes and force Varosk out of position faster.
Joltsy, as a reminder, look at the HP over on Varosk. All it takes is one good combo and Varosk is down. And that stealth is an attempt to cure that. That will be blast forced out by the smack. However, nothing much can come of it. Teldo interposes himself. There's the body block, and that'll save his teammate. And failing something incredible, Joltsy might have just lost the round. He does dodge the Venom Wind damage, but I don't see how he wins this. All it takes is Varosk to commit to one good fight. He tries for the stun, won't work out. However, there is Teldo with his whirling blades halfway through the rush, and Telrosk they pull back around.
Yeah, nicely done. Nice recovery off of Mini's death. Although I think Varos there might have forgotten they weren't on round 2 or later. I'm curious if they're going to take the Blast Vault stun increase battle right. They probably will. They are playing against a Rook. I mean, yeah, they do exactly take that right. They might have been thinking they had that, because if they have that, doing that play they did at the very end with the Blast Vault right next to Jolts, that would have been far more effective. A full second of stun is more than enough, especially for this composition, to be able to deal loads of damage.
Absolutely, and if you just keep your eye on this action now as we get into the next round, it does appear to have been an adjustment from Intolerant. They're playing much more together, trying to deal with Teldo in the backline. 2 players currently on that job, Iska and Nye. They're completely incapable of it, and Joltsy, he's not having a fun time at all in the front lines as Rook, because Teldo comes through with the backstab finally. There's the smack combo, and decent damage would have come through if not for an excellent barrier from Mini. Still, keep your eye on Teldo, because he is absolutely where this comp lives and dies. There's a double Venom win, that could be huge damage, and indeed it is. Joltsy, barely alive now. And that Astral Beam gets absolutely nothing from Iska. He pays for it with a ton of damage. There's the Knight going through. Will proc the invulnerability. Crippling goo out, and Mini doesn't get much. Explosive shots do clip Joltsy yet again, and he's so close to death, he will go down. And now it comes down to Nye. Does he find a way out of this? No, he doesn't. Teldo, he's got his number. He won't quite be able to finish the kill, and the Zap will provide a bit of shielding, but as his healer and teammate falls, Teldo will confirm the second kill, and Telrosk Me confirm their second round.
I'm just so amazingly awesome at this.
Did you notice how many counters were being procced there? Just all the counters triggered everywhere from Jolts and from Iska, and that didn't seem to make a difference. That was just counters got triggered, and then Telrosk Me just kept going because they went, well, whatever, we'll just keep attacking, and it still worked. Which is kind of surprising, come to think of it. That doesn't seem like it should happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're all really good at disengaging. Whenever they think they're in trouble, they all just back off, disengage, and it works very well for Telrosk Me.
Certainly has. And there's finally a stun coming out there that we want to see. Oh, Nye's, or rather, Mini's getting out of position. Nye thought they were getting out of position, but no, Mini's the one that they're going after, and that's not going to work out as well as they would like. With Jolts being so far out of position, they can't be healed easily.
Feroz, that snap was insane. 180-degree snapshot to confirm the stun onto two players. That buys the time necessary for Teldo to disengage. And yet again, this is that disengage we were talking about. See how all the players over on Telrosk have split up, they bought time, and now they're re-engaging once they're back in control of the situation. You can see the effect of it. Nye, he goes down. You do have an in-cap currently onto Mini. If the trade kill can come through, it's possible now, but it won't be happening. And there's the first kill coming through. Joltsy, the last alive, should follow. Try his
nice
best.
clarity push.
Yeah, I mean,
with
clarities like that, with combos like that, how do you win?
You got to split them up, I guess. I mean, going for Mini at the start wasn't a bad idea. It's just it didn't actually end up killing Mini. I mean, the basic idea was okay, but Mini ended up managing to regroup with their team, while at the same time, half of Intolerant was over on the left side of the left pillar because they went around the outside, and then of course, Jolts was on their own.
Yeah, and it just... That was the disengage we talked about. Telrosk Me looked like they were in a bad position there. Mini got separated, they had focus going through onto Teldo, and they all just managed to disengage, get out, regroup, and then go back in together once they all had the cooldowns they liked.
Yeah, again, we have Nye getting out of position and almost getting out of position. The team is following, though. Is no longer staying on their own. Intolerant's trying to stay together, but even then, Jolts is having a hard time sticking with this and not dying.
Joltsy, he's got no HP currently, and the focus is continuing. Teldo will dive the backline. He'll kind of force a disengage, but now he returns. Now Verosk and Teldo definitely have a focus onto Joltsy, but to wait a moment because Joltsy's playing this excellently. Finally, the Panic Flask does land, though. That could be an opening, particularly his ultimate should be available over on Teldo in a moment. He's got that ultimate up, and he will pop it. Lands onto two and confirms onto two, and Joltsy falls just like that. Another round's looking excellent for Telrosk Me. There needs to be a quick kill out of Iska, else I don't see how this turns around. Obvious target would be this Jade in the backlines, but Nye can't hold anything. He's just being pressured from all sides, harassed from all angles, and he suffers the fate. And my god, Telrosk Me, they've been away for a while, but they look ready to return.
I mean, it's a CC comp. That's the thing. They've got everything set up for chain stuns, and we're seeing that work beautifully. I'm enjoying the use of Zap, though. We're seeing Zap coming out from Nye to try to deal with this, and it has been effective in a few cases. I mean, it's difficult because you only have the one ability to clear things up, but it's still something that can be used in clutch situations to avoid a massive stun lock killing one of your teammates. It does still seem like there isn't quite as much coordination out of Intolerant to do that reliably on the times they need to.
There's a stun coming through early as you see that pressure yet again from Joltsy, and he will be isolating Mini. Maybe this is the focus that needs to come through. Damage onto Mini will force Teldo to disengage, but Nye's now the main focus, and Nye's now suffering as Veros continues to chase. Iska tries to come through and aid with the disengage, but all he can do is heal. Now Central Orb will be picked up, that's huge. Central Orb goes to Intolerant, and now if they can just maintain their distance and team play, they have an opportunity, particularly onto Mini, who's now been forced to run away. Teldo tries to save him by interposing himself, but he pays the cost as he's now dropped incredibly low, and Iska's able to dodge the vast majority of the damage from Venom, and Teldo could go down here. Nye has his number, no confirm comes through, but Teldo's been separated. Now Joltsy's the only cross kill that can come through, and he's got no HP, so it's possible. However, the Petrified does land onto Mini, and that means that Verosk has no way of receiving healing in the near future. Joltsy will be caught inside that crippling coup, but the healing from the ultimate! That's huge from Iska, that's an excellent play. He uses the Astral Beam exclusively for healing, that saves Joltsy, that keeps him alive long enough. Then maybe the turnaround can come, but instead, Nye's been suffering, losing his fight versus Mini, so now all the healing needs to go back onto Nye. Iska will manage it, the Incat comes through, but the instant Petrified return means that Iska's definitely not in an ideal scenario. He will be able to use that space on in to go ahead and destroy the first kill, and now Mini should fall, but man, that looks very, very easy for Intolerant there for a while, and Telrosk still made it close.
Well, Telrosk was playing really risky. I was noticing that from the beginning. They were just throwing themselves out there. Verosk in particular was chasing after Nye, and you generally don't want to chase that hard as a Jade. I mean, chasing is okay in a few situations, but Verosk was getting way out of position into a 2v1. And the thing is, they can afford that. Like, they have 4 rounds they could possibly win. It's not a huge deal, but it's still something you got to be careful about because it's still only 4 rounds away. And if that is a momentum shift that ends up happening because you're being risky, that could lose you the tournament.
Now keep an eye on it because Intolerant and Co need to get back in this, and you can see that punish damage going through the Verosk. Maybe you're onto something, Shadow, because it certainly seems like Intolerant think they are. It's like, so far in the round, do massive damage onto Verosk. He's dropped down to half HP, and whenever you see a backline dive from Teldo, it gets punished. There's an attempt at a combo DPS. It won't quite work out, and Teldo's going to be denied the DPS from his deceit, but it shouldn't matter because he's still got the damage onto Iska. Iska dropped down to half HP. Verosk and Teldo trying to confirm that damage. In the meantime, though, Mini's going to be shredded! That's a huge burst of damage. And with Mini full and Telrosk Mir suddenly in a dire situation, they do have 2 ultimates now to answer back. There's the explosive shells. They won't quite confirm the kill, but they get damn near close on Iska. All it takes is 1 good combo, and there's that good combo. It will be the damage confirmed and the kill confirmed as well, but Verosk has no HP with which to play this 2v2 scenario, so he should go down. The fact that he hasn't is just due to some smart positional play, but all it takes is just 1 instant to focus. There's a disabling shot, there's a stun, he's playing this excellently. Joltsy won't be able to confirm the kill just yet. In the meantime, Teldo up top has been able to do some damage onto Nye, equalising the HP roughly. There's some burst coming through, and that forces Joltsy to peel away, but the bottom green HP orbs aren't up yet. Now they're coming up. If Verosk can get them, it's possible, but Nye just steals them. That's heartbreaking. And now, unless they get Orb, Verosk will continue to just be useless in this comp. And, Nye's looking for the kill. He can't quite get it, but you still have Venom win. There it goes. Will land onto Nye. That could be the kill. Zap comes out, but the snipe followed through. Couldn't convert, but he was just out of range. Now Teldo, he's inches away from falling too. There's the boulder. Excellent predictive play, but it doesn't matter because Verosk confirmed the kill onto the Iva in the meantime. If Joltsy can confirm this orb, and he still has an opportunity, this ultimate 1 shot onto either player.
Yeah, Verosk has been in 1 HP since basically you were talking about the all has to do with orbs and everything else. It's been... I mean, Verosk does survive that a little bit with the blast ball, but still, this is...
Still alive!
Super careful play.
There's the second ultimate coming through, but the stun comes out. He doesn't get the full ultimate, but Verosk still falls,
enough.
And now Teldo. This is unwinnable, surely, Shadow.
Yeah, not in Battlerite. Battlerite's not the sort of game you can win at 1 HP.
That was... Verosk, how did you make that so close?
Well, it was really a smart play with moving around. Like, they're very careful about where they moved, especially around boulder tosses. They kept Jolts just barely at bay. And anytime Jolts tried to be predictive, Verosk saw it coming. Like, there was a good read on a rush, and then later a good read on a boulder toss. Like, there was just a lot of really great reads from Verosk about where Jolts was going to go to try to deal with them. And it all worked. The only thing that stopped him was an ultimate.
Yeah, Joltsy has been baited out this round though, but watch that. You see, Joltsy got baited out, he got left in the dust, and Intolerant adjusted to join him, and that's really nice. That's the type of team play that will get Intolerant back in this game, and continue the win streak they're currently on. Mini will be stunned out. Verosk tries to provide some support and does manage to do so. Now look at the focus onto Iska. He's taking an unfortunate amount of damage. Nye joining him there. The explosive shells coming through. Nye might fall here. Zap's all that's keeping him alive. Teldo's got the stun, but no follow through does come out yet. There's the in-cap to stop Teldo from chasing him, but Verosk will still be there. Verosk confirms the kill. Now Teldo's the lowest HP member of the opposing side. The only way the cross kill can come through. Iska and Joltsy both get stunned out. Petrify comes through as well. Mini will be deal some damage, but Iska's just dropping, and I think this is it.
Whoa, Nye disconnected.
Nye and Iska both DC, so I assume that's a server issue. But I'd like to think they're just, we're not going to win this.
No, Verosk is also disconnected. What the heck? Yeah, something went weird.
I'd assume that's a server issue. I know, we're getting right back into it. Okay. Well, it may very well be that they're accepting that Joltsy likely has lost this round.
Yeah.
Be the gracious thing to do, or we may see a remake. It's entirely possible as well. As is, though. Kill will be confirmed onto Joltsy, and he GG's, so we'll assume that's all. As a server issue mars the final round, but it was basically over at that point anyway. Nice,
yeah, it was clearly Telros Mees at that point.
Yeah, nice play by both teams. Intolerant, credit to them for fighting back, even when they were down 4-0. With Telros Me, man, did that look dominant.
Well, it was a strong focus play that came out at the beginning. The only thing that was screwing them up near the end was they were starting to get separated. They were getting a bit greedy. I mean, they could get away with it because they had enough rounds available. They just were getting greedy. And that is something which it will bite you. And you got to be careful, especially at this skill level.
Well, elsewhere in the bracket, Silver Team has been knocked out by North. Broken Comp Story do advance to play versus Team Nonsense in their own quarter-final. Bruce Lee currently playing versus Mikamu Down. Is Mikamu Down Knockout Fortress without haste? You Choose 3v3 did win versus Without Origins Battlerite in the ongoing matchup of Project Horizon versus 24K Magic will choose who plays You Choose 3v3. Don't go anywhere, we've got a whole bunch more exciting Battlerite action coming your way in tonight's ESL Go4Battlerite Cup number 21. My name, of course, has been TJ, joined by Shadow Fury and Dropbear as part of Battlerite, a premier EU esports destination. Can we say that? For Battlerite. Nobody else is doing this in English, so hey. The premier esports Battlerite destination. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Battlerite Esports Lounge. Are we in a lounge, Shadow?
Yeah, say we are in a lounge.
We got the jazz, we got some neon lighting. Really proud of our new graphics, by the way. We have been working on that. Huge shout out to outofitbeats, who's been collaborating with us to create those. However, we're not here to talk about graphics, we're here to talk about Battlerite, and one hell of a match of it too, as we continue with our side of the bracket. We're going to be continuing with Telrosk Me. They've now reached the quarter-finals, where they will be playing off versus North, the team that's just burned through their half of the bracket so far, and that's left us in a very early quarter-final. You can see how eager these teams are to get into it, as I'm not even finished explaining things, and we're just right into it.
Yeah, they know their compositions, they know what they want to play, and seeing fairly strong combo coming out from North. I mean, we already saw Telrosk Me is absolutely terrifying. But North's got a few ways of avoiding all the stun locks that are coming out there. I mean, it's a little bit more predictive avoidance, like between the other side and Consume. But we should still see a bit of a harder time for Telrosk Me setting up their CC chains.
Don't forget, Jumon got a fairly sizable buff this patch, just with a couple different changes. He's been incredibly powerful, so I'm going to be interested to see Paloma, who many people think got a nerf, joined with a melee champion who many people think got a nerf, and then you have Jumon, who many people think had a buff, and it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
Well, so far it's relatively spread out. Looks like Teldo's trying to set up some sneaky plays, trying to get the camouflage going, but has to do it in plain sight, and against an other side as well. That's nice prediction coming out there from Moroe. They know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly where they're going to be hit. That was just a strong read.
There's an early explosive shots coming out from Barosk, and there's the stun lock coming through other side, barreling bells out Dembo style, but that definitely wasn't an ideal scenario. The trading does come through in part onto Barosk. Over Teldo, he's got a focus. There's an ultimate crippling goo coming out, and oh dear lord, that's a focus! Just like that, one full or half HP Rukon melts. Now Dembo styles the next on the chopping block as Teldo circles round like a shark. You won't get anything on that Venom Wind though. It's entirely possible that they'll live, but never mind. Barosk has explosive shots.
I didn't get anything directly, but he did force a lot of out usage, which then led to that entire exchange right there, where it was just getting completely destroyed. I mean, part of it 3v2, but a lot of it was there was no way out of there. There were no escapes left.
That was... I'm gonna take a deep breath. Telrosk Me are insane with the burst damage. Like, this patch has just... They were always a burst damage comp. But this patch, especially, they can do so much damage so quickly. The burst is just terrifying.
Well, the patch didn't really change damage that much either. I mean, yes, Jade got a slight buff initially, but that got reverted, so Jade's still only dealing 24 damage per clip. Like, her actual damage numbers are no different when you consider the entire clips. Only the individual shots that are different.
Well, Dembo, he's trying to find that damage you talk about. Got some of it onto Baros. Corian up top using that Rukon. Definitely playing a bit more wary, and you can see kind of this fortress style settled into from North.
And it's working out too. There hasn't been any major focus coming out there. Meter's been being gained on both sides, but neither... Well, Tel's getting a lot of damage taken, and there's a... Well, 3 players in the ultimate, but still not huge unless... Well, we see now, Corinthians is getting wrecked.
Dembo will fall on top. There's Teldo securing that kill. Corinthian tries to find something with his Shadow Bolt, but I don't see how he does this. He has ultimate, but every time he's popped it so far, he's just been exploited. There's Crippling Goo to do exactly that. If he doesn't, there's the ultimate, there's the Crippling Goo in instant return, there's the focus, there's huge damage coming through Corian. He just melts.
That's the third time Crippling Goo with all the control.
Oh my god, and the Venom Wind from Teldo, that just steals the fate of anyone who could have helped that poor Paloma, and just like that, it's 2 rounds in a row for Telrosk Me.
I mean, let's be fair though, Moroe is doing great, doing a wonderful job healing. I mean, Corinthian did get hit in the ultimate, but it took an ultimate to start even dealing permanent damage to that team. Like, North wasn't taking any permanent damage until the Crippling Goo popped out, and some extra control was used to keep Corinthian in there. And then demo style got out because Murray got a little distracted and got focused on Corinthian. But it took a lot of effort just for Telros Me to be able to deal any damage, let alone get a kill.
Now there's...
Like, as long as we see North safe, we should be seeing them do okay.
Yeah, and during the early phase of the round like this, where they're playing the Fortress style, typically it works out alright. Problem becomes when somebody overextends, when the ultimates come through and punish of Corientin's own Shadow Beast or just overextensions.
Yeah, that is typically where we see the problems start. Although at this point, it's... I mean, every single round we see it's harder and harder for Telros Me to actually disrupt that fortress and actually get the damage in there. This point, at least, Telros Me, Teldo in particular, is not taking damage. Oh, but Dembo!
That's huge damage coming through. Finally, other side's forced out. Now there's an opening, though. Veros knows other side spent. There's the ultimate explosive shots to the back lines. Any sort of out have been burned. And Teldo's gotta be tempted to use this Venom when he's trying to find the right opportunity. He's just forced out other side for a second time. But oh no, he times it wrong. He does still get more away and decent damage. And the Rukan will fall as there yet again is crippling good to punish his own ultimate. More away and Dembo split up. This is looking ugly. You will see an Ancestral Spirit available, but I'm not sure how it comes out to save Dembo at this point. There it is, kind of defensively. Dembo's not inside of it. It will manage to tag up one player on the other side, but Varosk maintains most of his HP and more away is yet again in a 1v3.
Yeah, Varosk didn't even seem concerned. They figured they have enough HP. They'd survive it, and they were right. Although that was really risky, but they were right. They did manage to stay alive.
I'm just so amazingly
And
awesome at
this is kind of interesting to me because I actually think every time we've seen Corianton use his ultimate, it's killed him.
Just about, yeah. It's really difficult to get in when you have Teldo running around camouflage and then they just stun you out. I mean, Shadow Beast doesn't give you any outs. So unless you're able to hit Teldo, actually even if you are, because if you're hitting Teldo with the claw part of it, you end up pulling Teldo in. So they can have an easier time doing the stuns.
Yeah, it's just his ultimate's almost completely useless, and I don't know, I'd love to see an adjustment where he decides perhaps not to use it, or save it for his EX, and you can see the effect of it, because Mini! Oh, that was a ton of focus that just came through. Jumong chiming in. Corianton finally lands all those hits he's been trying for in Morway. Provides excellent healing the whole time, and there's the effect of that kind of burst. Two players fall in just as many seconds due to a double Venom Wind coming out. And it does result in some damage for Teldo, but this would be an insane 1v3.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, 1v3s are almost impossible in most cases. I've seen, unless your opponent's at really low HP, I've never seen it work, and even then I've only seen it work for like an Ashka, for Hot Biscuit once.
Yeah.
It's 1v3s are basically, you're dead.
How did that time Corianton close the distance and deal the most damage on the team?
It wasn't just Corianton, it was everybody. Like, it was, Corianton managed to pull in Mini, and then it was a full team collapse. Like, that's what's coming down to, is anyone gets clawed, and now we're just seeing North go, well, as long as we hit them all together, we should kill. And they're right, because they have, between Jumong and Rukan, they have a lot of burst damage available to them.
Tembo gets caught out a bit by Teldo as see the fortress set up yet again. A little bit of aggression from Corianton as he tries to find a way to open things up, but Varosk is kind of holding him at bay. There's a bit of damage onto Varosk, decent amount actually. He's dropped down to half HP. And there's no solid trade just yet. Corianton will receive a bit of focus in return, but nothing significant, and Varosk is still definitely the focus.
Oh, at this point, the Ancestral Spear is almost going to get his stuff, but not enough. Does get a bit of healing. Still, Corinthian was slightly out of position, but Mini was way more out of position, and that ended that fight badly.
Teldo might be able to get the revenge kill onto that poor Jumong Dembo style, and he's got it, potentially. The panic did land onto him, and that disrupted some of his plans, and it's an excellent timing on the Black Arrow, and the other side will save from the explosive shots. Varosk now has no outs. He's being pulled in by the Shadow Beast, and he will fall. And oh, that's a nice read onto Teldo.
It worked! The Shadow Beast worked. I mean, okay, it was a really good situation, but still, not a bad finisher.
But you did see that. Yes, again, It worked excellently for them. They ran the same comp, but they were able to get some focus onto Varosk. That forced him to play a bit more passive, and everything worked out for them.
Well, we're also seeing a lot of wonderful other sides from Morway. Like, every time the CC locks are getting set up, an other side is put on the player that's it. And that just stops the entire CC chain. Like, basically it makes it do nothing.
Watch Teldo here, he's trying to push, he's trying to get right back in this action, and he might be paying for it because he's already been dropped down to about half his HP. And Corianton, of course, is just receiving excellent healing across the board. There's no snipe guaranteed. Now Dembo might have overextended. He will be able to use that predation though. And Landestone odds Teldo, who's now dropped incredibly low. You will see Morway even use that Soul Rift to go and guarantee a panic. Now they've separated everyone. They can focus it onto Mini because they've completely torn apart any semblance of composition of the opposing side. You will see the Shadow Beast down and working this time onto Veros, who will be able to escape and guarantee Orb, but he's got so low HP, he should fall.
I'm honestly kind of surprised we aren't seeing more attacks and more just to stop those other sides. That's the thing I want to see, is get those other sides out of the way, make sure they can't stop this CC chain, and, you know, get rid of their healer at the same time, too. Why not? Like, I can see why they're going for the front assault. It just, they need to deal with the other sides quickly.
And now, North, they're entirely back in this game.
Yeah, tied at the scoreline, everything is looking nice for them.
The only thing that's changed is that North has started really holding their composition, really continuing to support each other. That's worked excellently.
Well, we might be seeing that again, although at this point, hey, some separation coming out here. We're seeing Currington a little bit too far ahead and forced to be able to not do anything thanks to Panic Flasks, thanks to some intelligent stun going on there. Veros still a little too forward, though. Veros needs to move back if they want to not get hit, but they are not getting hit too much, so they're not too worried.
Teldo does have the Seeker's Mark on him, but no in-cap will come from Dembo, and that could be the turning point, because now Dembo's taking a fair bit of damage. Teldo's going in as much as he can. You do have the explosive shots coming out that won't force out the other side. But if Teldo can confirm anything, he's got the other side out. He's got the ultimate. The crippling goo will confirm some. There's the immaterial forced out. There are no outs. So Dembo will go down, but Mini's fallen in trade. So now the cross kill is guaranteed. You have a silence, and what can come through onto Corianton. If Veros can just play this HP advantage, he can absolutely win out the round.
Yeah, at this point, losing Mini, rather painful, but there's Mori down, so that's not going to be a huge bit of pain. Ooh, Shadow Beast might finish, though.
Oh, he's got no outs, though. The Venom wins. That confirms the kill. 4-3 now. Telros Mead, they're back on the board.
I tried being reasonable. I didn't like it.
So it's pretty clear that if Telrosmi is able to separate out somebody, they win. And if North stays together, if they keep themselves from getting separated and getting pulled forward, then they're okay. But of course, that ladder bit's really difficult. I mean, we saw other sides coming out as well, but that didn't work out because Currington still moved forward. They didn't disengage on the other side. They kept forward, they kept attacking, and they got surrounded.
There's the stun onto Corianton from that opening snipe, and that'll allow kind of this folding plan coming through from Telrosmi, and if they can isolate the target, split up the formation, could work out excellently for them. Thus far, though, it's just been chip game that's been working for them. Now watch Mini's HP. He's going to get focused in on Corianton. Will be trying to shift his focus in. Morway's got an excellent Ancestral Spirit, and he will be able to body block Mini right back into it. And now you have focus coming through. Now Mini's taking real tons of damage. The Counter Void will come through. Corianton tries to close the distance and is able to do so. Teldo does have his own ultimate, and that could be the turning point in reverse as he lands onto one.
Oh, well, there's the cross kill at the very least. And Currington's almost dead. Currington is dead again. And once they get the other side done, they're going to be shot dead. There it is.
Will be the explosive shells to confirm that, and Morway won't even try and contest as Telrosmi to scrape out a victory.
Wow, I wasn't sure how that was going to go, because after those 3 rounds where North was getting back into it, I thought, oh, North's got their number. North might be able to pull this out, but no, it turned out that North did have their number, but didn't quite manage to stay on it, because the players got a little bit less patient, they got a little bit more forward, they managed to, I mean, they basically opened themselves up just enough to tell Telrosmi to get the stun chains going again, or even just get enough permanent damage. That was the thing, it wasn't so much stun chains, it was just a bit more permanent damage. And that was still enough that pushed Telrosmi into the victory. Because they lost Mini both times, like that was still really close.
I mean, Telrosmi, they looked shaky there, but what impressed me was they went, this is what's going wrong, let's focus in on it. They went, we're getting split up, we're not playing as a team, and we're not successfully disrupting their formation. They shifted their style up, they isolated a player, they confirmed the kill onto him, and they accepted, in some case, that Mini has to be bait, and I think he played that role very well.
Yeah, this is it's a pretty strong demonstration of Telrosk, like the Telrosk part of that composition, because they were dominant at the beginning of the EU 2v2 meta, and it's clear that they haven't gotten too rusty or have adapted fairly well to a 3v3 setup. It's not quite the same thing as before, but whenever Mini dies, we still see it old school Telrosk play working out.
Well, we'll be taking a quick break, I believe. We're going to be back with our our first semi-final of the night in just a few moments. Elsewhere in the bracket, of course, those semi-finals have been shaping up. Bruce Lee advanced to play in the bottom one. You choose 3v3 versus Project Horizon is ongoing to decide who faces them. Up top, Telrosk Me just advanced to play versus their semi-final opponent, Team Nonsense. We'll likely be back with that matchup in just a few moments, so don't go anywhere as we continue our coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're in the first semi-final of the night. It's ESL Go4Battlerite number 21. My name's still TJ, still joined by Shadow Fury with Drop Bear on production as we continue twitch.tv/Battlerite's coverage of the ESL Go4Battlerite tournament. €150 on the line, is that right, Shadow?
Yep, for the winner alone. The winner takes all tournament, so whoever wins this match, well, this match and then the next match, because this is semifinals, they will come away with €150. Well, €50 each.
Well, that's assuming an even split. I don't know how the money's divided. Maybe you just give it all to Teldo so he can keep buying himself memes.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what their meme dealers are like.
He's got to pay his writing team for his streams.
That's a fair point.
Well, we're into the game. Team Nonsense over on the left-hand side, DM Pump Time and Blame 3-3 versus Telrosk Me over on the right, Mini, Teldo and Varosk.
Oh, this is going to be tricky. I mean, on the one hand, Blame 33 might get a little bit too extended. They are getting too extended. I was thinking they might be okay because this is fortressy, but it's not being played that way right now.
Oh, that's done. Oh, that's huge! Blame! He just falls like that, and now you have the explosive shots out of Varosk and attempted answering back. Teldo and Co will group up at the top as they try and find a way to just smoothly punish onto one specific character, and this time it looks to be Pub Time as he burns both of his escapes. Varosk a little bit early on that snap, but it shouldn't matter, because the kill still comes through, and Dia, well, I mean, how does he do this?
Clearly doesn't, unfortunately. Man, I don't think Team Nonsense quite understood just how aggressive Telrosk Me is. Because I think Team Nonsense has a setup that can work with this, like actually deal with what Telrosk Me is up to. Because, I mean, Dea can provide the damage, and it's similar to composition we had last time that North was using, although with Dea playing Jade as well, they have access to similar CC tools as Telrosk Me. I mean, obviously they have access to all of Jade's CC tools, but they also just have access to that general approach of longer range damage. Like, Jumong can't really do much to control the opposing team unless he's right up close. Like, right next to them, going Prowler predation through them.
This round, look at the kind of pick play coming out from Telrosk. They're playing a little bit more passive, trying to guarantee a stun before they open, which is kind of an interesting way to do it, and they have got that stun now onto Dia. The punish could come through because they burned both out, so they won't guarantee orb, but there's that punish we were talking about as other side's forced out. You do have Pump Time with an ultimate already, thanks to the amount of healing they've been doing, but Varosk will have his own explosive shots in a moment, and that could be lethal.
Oh, there's a stun try to stopping Dia, but Dia's not doing terrible. The focus has still been kind of spread around the opposing team, and really the health values are about the same. I should point out there's not a huge advantage one way or the other.
Mini takes a ton of early damage as Blame hammers through the damage on them. Explosive shots come out and Dia suffers double venom when comes through, but the shielding eats the vast majority of it, and Dia dodges most of it. Mini's now the focus, and Mini should go down. No HP at the top, however. Pump Time has already fallen, and the Petrify Bolt from Mini is an excellent play to keep themselves alive as they now ride off into the sunset, and Blame needs to somehow escape a close range engagement with Varosk because his teammates have all fallen. That was an excellent play by Mini.
I don't know if that was necessary, because they probably would have been fine without the delay, but it's nice to stay alive. It's always good to not be dead. Still, though, overall, that play, that setup with a Venom Wind near the bottom side of the map, that pretty much sealed it. Because up to that point, it was still fairly even. Once the Venom Wind came out and managed to deal the damage onto Pump Time, they had no way to get out of it, or at least they didn't get out of it, that turned things around. That opened up Pump Time for getting focused down on, then getting killed, and then from that point, of course, there's no healer anymore, and I mean, it helps a lot that Mini did survive, but even then, it was still a stronger play, a stronger setup. There was still a health advantage at that point for Telrosk Me.
Heals coming through currently onto Varosk as Telrosk Me try and just hold together this opening positioning. Yet again, Mini takes early damage, and that could be lethal. Blame's chasing as best he can, but watch Pump Time. He's the trade, and Teldo's going insane onto him. Teldo gets huge damage onto Pump Time, who's now just falling further and further back, trying desperately to stay alive. Nice soul transfer to try and buy time, but he has no outs, and the Venom Wind claims his life. Now Blame, he's got another winnable situation. There's the explosive shot empty to point-blank range, right into him. The attempted answer from Dia just is too little, too late.
That was pure separation. Dia was way out of the way, no help at all for most of that team fight. And that was basically 2v3 the entire time, with Teldo running all the disruption. But even then, it was just 2v3. Like, that's a huge advantage, naturally, for Telrosmi. I get that Dia was going for the orb, and that didn't really seem to help much. Or I imagine they were going for the orb, because that's all I can think of why they weren't with their team.
I mean, it's just, when Telrosmi get the opening, when they get the punish, it's huge. And you can see Mini is like the player that several teams in a row now would like to focus in response, but they've never quite been able to do it.
Yeah, I think from last game, it's just so much acclimatization to this composition, or a composition like it, and how they're going to be dealing with Telrosmi's players. What they're going to try to do, what they're probably going to do based on the characters, and how to deal with that. I'm just noticing so much adaptation coming out from Telrosmi for dealing with this composition.
Pump Time tries to provide the healing, and will be able to support Blame to a certain extent. Mini's still the primary target. Other side will dodge some of the damage. Stealth dodges as well, so Barosk's ultimate doesn't get too much to do with the crippling coup onto Dia, though, who's suffering. There's an excellent play to keep Dia out of most of the action, but they're able to deftly dodge and jive out. Pump Time saves their life with an excellent Ancestral Spirit, but now Venom comes through, and there are no outs. Barely survives Pump Time, and now he'll be able to provide all the healing necessary, and looks like Varosk should go down.
Ooh, that miss. That's going to lose the game, that miss. If Dia had been hit by that, they would have died. Yeah, because that was a 44 damage. They would have gotten killed, and Dia did not get killed as a result of that one snipe, leaving the cross kill unfulfilled and leaving this basically being a 3v1. Most likely a win coming out for Team Nonsense. Finally get on the board.
Falling, and just like that now, it's 3-1. Finally, Team Nonsense are back on the board, and that looks like it comes down to, can you separate out Mini? And that's really been the only response people have found so far to Telrosmi.
Well, even then, it's only, can you separate out Mini in the first few minutes, or first few seconds of the game. I mean, if you have a 50% total team HP and you manage to take out Mini, you're probably still going to die. That's what we've seen. And there's the claw. There's an attempt at it. Mini's not going to fall for it, though. Proper use of barrier to avoid that. And he basically took no permanent damage. So that's the thing. No permanent damage has been taken from Telrosmi, but boy is... Alright, say that as Teldo takes the damage. But Team Nonsense, that can't be said for them.
First orb will go to Telrosk, though. That helps with a little bit of the damage they did take. Varosk has the ultimate as well. He's going to be looking for a time to use it. Pump Time. He'll be trying to save his teammate now as the crippling coup flies out, and just like that, the ultimates combine, and like a very quick kill to Blame. Pump Time now needs to somehow stay alive under this focus. Other side's the only answer, of course, but Dia can't possibly hope to win this fight. Varosk will be able to shut down any hope they have as Pump Time now is struggling to stay alive and will lose that struggle. Dia, the last alive, now venomed, now stunned, now dead.
Caught up against a wall. That's all I got to say about Pump Time there.
Nothing wrong with shooting, as long as the right people get shot.
Well, I thought there was going to be a follow-up, but that was all you had to say.
No, they were caught up against a wall. That's all there was to it. Pump Time they were against the wall, and they were kind of done. They tried to soul rift or soul drain out of there, and it didn't work because they didn't have... Actually, I'm surprised it didn't work because oh no, it didn't trigger spell block. Like, the spell block happened, the panic wasn't triggered, and Pump Time didn't have any way of getting out of there. Had nowhere to run.
Dia will try and kind of provide that stun opening onto Mini, and you can see Blame actually extending to try and get it, but he's going to be held off excellently. And Dia with the snipe will miss! What?
How do you miss at that range? I am very surprised by that. And another miss on Teldo.
Varosk isn't missing anything of the sort. Dia takes a fair bit of damage in response, and will beat now in explosive shots flying out. Dia, very low on HP. Pump Time tries to provide all the healing, and the crippling coup does miss, but Orb yet again going to Telrosmi the second of the round means that now you have no HP to answer back. Shadow Beast does come out. That'll do massive damage onto Teldo, actually. There's that answer I was talking about. Huge damage. The crippling coup in response will be dodged by a blast bolt, and Varosk is Fairly low on HP. Panic does stun out the healer of Pump Time, but he's going to be right back into the round with Pixie to double up his healing, and that'll be all that's needed to pretty much guarantee a kill onto Barosk, and I don't see how they turn it around.
Second time that Barosk almost had a snipe kill that would have turned the game around and missed it rather. Like, those snipe misses are defining these games.
I mean, it's got to be the patch, right? Because that's Jade's on both teams missing snipes. We would have flagged as easy. Right.
Yeah, the move speed was increased for every single character, so that's probably messing with their leading. Like, it does seem to be in a few cases they're leading a bit too little. Or maybe a bit too much. Like, they haven't quite necessarily gotten used to how much you absolutely have to lead given a certain direction when you're using a snipe at a certain distance. It's tricky to get used to.
And it's of course been changed, so just the muscle memory these players have built up. It's probably kind of playing against them currently, but in this round you can see Mini yet again is the focus of blame. Dia takes a fair bit of early damage though from Barosk in defense of that. Teldo though, that's an excellent read by Dia. There's a huge snapshot. The panic comes through. Deceit and Barrier try to save him, but Pump Time's read him like a book. And Teldo, he's just so low on HP after that opening engagement. That's insane.
Still managed to disengage though. That's exactly what they had to do, and they did it, and they're still alive as a result. But man, this is tough. Teldo trying to go back in might not be the best idea. It's all they really have, but it's their HP just makes it so risky.
There's the explosive shots going out, do decent damage onto Mini, and it will be a nice defensive Ancestral Spirit. Venom Wind comes through for 2. Nice soul transfer from Pump Time to dodge the vast majority of the damage that could have possibly landed, and Dia is now playing an excellent coordination.
Yeah, it seems like Team Nonsense has really leveled up just in the last few minutes, really.
Yeah, that crippling goo could have been fatal, but they played that so well, and now Mini receives a snipe. Barrier comes out. Just like that, Teldo will be forced to be left all alone because Mini has to go save his own skin, but of course the price for that is Teldo's life, and Skin Frog is excellent. You just put it over the table, it looks all nice, and now this is threatening to go to the final round.
We smile with the faceless.
Yeah, I'd still say Telroskme has the advantage, but I'm sensing Team Nonsense has figured out where they need to push, where they need to poke, what they need to do to make sure that they don't get completely locked out themselves. As long as they can play as careful, as long as they can keep this up, they can get through this. They can get to the finals.
Blame.
Oh, Teldo again going forward.
Yeah, and that's where they've been punished in previous rounds. Teldo overextends and Blame comes through excellently, and you can see him kind of thrashing away there, dodging the stun, the Deceit as best he can. It doesn't save him that time, but no significant lock comes through because of his evasive maneuvers, and you can see Teldo's just being entirely neutralized. Finally, he gets his thing going, and it's working out excellently for him, and at the top of the map, actually, you've also seen significant damage on the Blame at the hands of Barosk. Now Venom Wind comes through, that's Pump Time incredibly low. This is all unraveling. Telroskme, yet again, after a game that looked so shaky for them, they step back up, and now it all needs to come from this ultimate. This Shadow Beast needs to somehow pull something out of them. Dia will be able to secure Orb, but that's all they're getting, and they need to somehow convert that into a very, very hard-fought 2v1.
Oh, that was the safest thing ever. With the stun out finishing off, that was Teldo showing that they aren't always going to be throwing in themselves into the fight, into the back lines. Sometimes they can actually stay back, and that worked. That's what they needed to do, and they did it. Because Teldo was getting punished, saw they were getting punished, adapted to getting punished, and then wasn't getting punished anymore.
And apparently, Twitch chat's on our case, Dia should be referred to as Deal.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. We do have, that was of course our first semi-final. The second semi-final, I'm not sure if it's underway. We'll be trying to get into it if we can. That's going to be Project Horizon versus Bruce Lee, the classic matchup, of course. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and get back in a few moments. Before we do, though, eTennessee. That's about $5 PayPal. I can give you the PayPal address in just a few moments. Okay? Is that fair, Shadow? I'll split it with you.
Sorry? What is this?
He asked how much for a shout-out.
Oh, I don't care.
I feel like we're undercharging, though. What kind of shout-out are we doing? I mean, you know, it's an ongoing...
Let's not discuss this on stream.
Well, fair point. You don't talk business on stream. Thank you very much for watching up to this point. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the second semi-finals of the night, or the grand finals, depending on things work out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here at the grand finals of the 21st ESL Go4Battlerite. €150 on the line, winner takes all. And we're here broadcasting it all. My name is TJ, joined by Shadow Fury, but of course Drop Bar still running the production. And I cannot wait, because we have actually, this is kind of the dueling strategies, right? Telros Me versus Project Horizon, they both run kind of the same mentality of burst damage, but they both achieve it in slightly different ways.
Yeah, so we have J Crow coming out from Telros Me, which we've seen a lot of this tournament since we've been following them, and we know that that's more a matter of getting a lot of damage and then popping out of there. On the other hand, we have Hot Biscuit and Muzak running Jade Ashka, which we've seen a lot in NA tournaments, and PRL in particular, where that's more staying in. You stick to your opponent, you stun them out, you get them between Deceits and Flame Strike so they can't go anywhere, and then you just destroy all their HP that way. I'm curious to see how this is going to work out, because I kind of favor Telros Me right now, but that's only because we've been watching them so far.
Yeah, I mean, Project Horizon, don't forget, they are so very good, so very dominant in the EU scene. And Ashka's arguably received some very interesting changes, so I can't wait to see how this works out. So far, Project Horizon are playing very passive as they normally do, and Telros Me will be able to secure center control on the first orb.
Not only that, secure all the nuggets as well, except for a couple of health nuggets. But still, Teldo going for the Deceit. There it is. Camouflage coming out right afterwards. Oh, the firewall from Hot Biscuit at least was well placed, so that keeps Project Horizon from taking too much damage.
There's the focus going through as best it can from Hot Biscuit. Verosk will land a stun onto Uzak. That's excellently done. But the all so far is Eldo and Verosk both playing kind of passively and looking for ways to get in.
Now, Wuzak's got to be careful. As Blanks goes in and out of the main center area, Blanks might actually end up being out of position when Wuzak takes a bunch of damage. Or same with Hot Biscuit. They both got to be careful about that. If they're out of position, that'll leave them vulnerable to massive amounts of burst damage. At the same time, Teldo not even being paid attention to by Minu.
I don't like what Teldo's doing here. He's chasing far too aggressively, in my opinion. He's paid for it. There's Venom Wind out. He has no escapes, but barrier comes through. That purges him. As a result, Orb will be picked up, and Wuzak can't be too happy about that. Now Teldo's got a Venom Wind of his own, and I dare say he wants revenge. There's the Time Travel Flame Strike combo coming out. One trying to answer the other. In-cap comes through. Nice ultimate from Hot Biscuit. Do decent damage onto Verosk, who's now suffering. Venom Wind from Teldo won't get anything, but you know the crippling goo on out. Blanks eats some damage. Actually, for the most part, those ultimates didn't achieve nearly what they wanted. Project Horizon, they're still on okay HP.
They are, but they are at a slight disadvantage, which it's going to come down to whether or not Wuzak takes a bunch of burst damage at this point, because right now, yeah, they're even on HP, but Wuzak's the main damaged player. The other two are okay.
Nice.
And the orb going once again. 4-2 for Telros Me so far.
They've just had center control the whole time, and this is just very entertaining. Both these teams play so passively, so carefully, and you can absolutely see the effects of it. There's finally a stun not coming through onto Mini, but it gets cancelled out by a barrier. There's time travel coming out. Venom Wind did have some effect. Teldo spent a lot of time outside the map, and he can't be too happy about that. Hot Biscuit trying for the punish, and they do manage to guarantee it. Mini does fall. Teldo now combines. There's Venom Wind onto him. They do get the cross kill, but the Venom Wind will confirm a kill in return, and there's another Venom Wind right on out. That should be all, as Verosk should fall. Project Horizon secure the first round.
Close first round, though. I mean, sudden death just by time.
Stupid matchup, because both these teams want to play so passively. Both these teams want to play like around the corners, poking, prodding.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to overtime almost every round. I guarantee it.
Well, I hope you guys brought your popcorn. That's for sure, because you're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, no, kickback. This is the best of 3. This is some quality Chinese Dota level action going on right here. But both these teams play passively, looking for ways in. Hot Biscuit, he's picked up that new right, which allows travelling during firestorm, sorry. And he will be testing it out in this matchup. That will be first orb guaranteed, yet again by Telros Me, as they hold this center control so proudly.
Telros Me seems to be getting a little bit too forward. They might be getting a little impatient, I'm noticing. Like, they're throwing themselves in, like, they're not getting away from as much of the control. They're throwing themselves into time benders and other forms of defense, it's like they're not quite playing as passively, as carefully as they did in the first match.
That got huge damage though,
Oh, that works!
Oh,
wow!
Damage.
That was touch of death!
That is the power of a focus. That was insane.
I didn't even realize just how much damage you could deal with that combination. But yeah, that blanks went from 100 to 0 just from that one alone. So yeah, once Mini gets that ultimate, that's actually happened most of the time. That's been a pretty common pattern so far, is that Mini gets the ultimate, and hey, there's the stun lock coming out there from Telrosk Me.
Wuzak will be the last alive. There's a nice ultimate from Barosk, and that will be all as Teldo and Telrosk Me. They answer back, they're on the board. And many... who would have thought a week ago that a Crippling Goo would be by far the most powerful ultimate on the new Telrosk Me team?
I mean...
Like, remember when Lucy was first being played and nobody used the ultimate?
Oh yeah, because people figured, oh well, people will just get away from it. No one's going to get hit in it. And mind you, that was back before it dealt 18 damage on hit. Like, that was back when it was just damage over time. Once it started dealing damage on hit, we saw it a lot more.
Well, we'll kind of see both these teams poking again. Of course, they both play almost exactly the same kind of Croak burst damage playstyle, where they're just looking for setups. So we're going to see a lot of this kind of poking phase where nobody commits. Project Horizon do manage to secure that round though, and they'll be quite happily chipping away so far in this one.
Oh, and again, the time betters coming out there from Blanks are doing a great job avoiding Teldo doing much damage at all. At this point, permanent damage is all being dealt to Teldo. They're not. Oh, wow, though. Teldo body blocking. Why did you do that?
Yeah, and Blanks actually right there used that Chrono Flux to secure Orb. That's the second one of the round in favour of Project Horizon. They have the ultimate out of Veros. He gets everything out before the Chrono Flux pops out in front of him. Teldo, he may have taken massive damage, but Wuzak misses an entire ultimate. Mini's not taking any damage at all. Teldo, he might have taken damage, but his team is absolutely rising around him, and they're able to secure Orb. Telrosk Me, they're looking back in the round.
Oh, and the Crippling Goo, there it is. There's another 100 to 0. Taking out Blanks again, and wow, Hoppiska decides to just go back into it as well. Why not? Still, again, we have this 2v3 setup. Almost 2v1 setup with all the stuns coming out, or 3v1 setup rather, with all the stuns coming out of there. Not working out for Project Horizon anymore. Good attempts at the flame strikes though. It's not working. Everyone's just moving away from it. No one's staying in the right spots long enough, and at this point we're seeing the split up because, I mean, obviously Wuzak doesn't want to be too close to Hoppiska, otherwise they're gonna not be able to do their camouflage. But at the same time, they're not coordinating anything else, and Flameball's not coming up to help Wuzak either. And there's the kill.
Will be. A ton of focus comes through. Wuzak crumbles. And Project Horizon, man, that Crippling Goo is terrifying.
That Crippling Goo is defining the games. I mean, it's been a good reason why Project Horizon wants to get those orbs too, because the more orbs they get, the harder it is for Mini to get that up. And the easier it is for Project Horizon to keep going.
I do think it's actually forcing out a bit more aggressive play for them, because they are so terrified of it. But of course, they just need to be... It's not even enough to be aware of when your outs are up, because the stuns that come through right there are impressive. And we just saw Teldo, he used the Venom Wind not only to stack Venom Wind on top of Crippling Goo, but also so he could get in front of the target Blanks and block out his escape with his body.
Yeah, but at the same time, Telrosk Me now going much more aggressive than before. We've seen this a few times. They get ahead in the scoreline and start to go aggressive because they can get away with it. And it might work out this time too.
Huge damage comes out. Wuzak now playing on top of this Flame Strike. That'll allow a ton of damage as well. Blanks tries to heal up. There's another Flame Strike. Barosk takes pretty sizable damage. In caps from Teldo. That's a nice setup, but Blanks will build the distance from the recast. From that time bender did allow him to deal some damage of his own. Now, keep your eye on that time travel, because that confirms the first kill. Mini does fall. There's the time travel. Ultimate chimes in. Hot Biscuit with the Infernal Scorn should stack the kill onto Teldo, who's now very, very low indeed. He might be able to get ultimate though, and he does indeed. He gets nothing with it, but it does buy him another few seconds of life. There's the camouflage stun coming out, but Wuzak answers back, and it's all on Barosk somehow. He needs to win
only
this
a
round.
few seconds, and unfortunately not able to, thanks to the Venom Wind. Yeah, a little bit too aggressive coming out there from our friends over on Telrusk. I'm pretty sure that was, like I said, they're ahead around. They might as well see if they can get rid of blanks early. And they almost did, but they got a little bit too caught up, a little bit too closed in. Blanks could stone glass them, and at that point, they needed to disengage, but disengaging from there was much harder because the stone glass just chained into Flame Strike, which then continued the damage until they're all at half HP. We're probably not going to see that again.
I'm in awe of the clash of playstyles we're seeing here. They're so, like, subtly different, sure, but incredibly similar in kind of their early phase, and that's really fun to watch, actually. As Hot Biscuit takes a fair bit of damage early on. Oh, nice rebuff on Wuzak. He tries to commit early and gets absolutely shredded by Verosk.
I mean, Verosk got a great read earlier on Wuzak as well. Wuzak with stealth and Verosk sniped it out. Oh, but Teldo? No, Teldo's fine. Teldo, they haven't even taken any permanent damage yet.
He's slippery.
So,
he's oiled up. That could have been bad.
Yeah.
He got tied against a wall with a flame strike under his feet, but managed to escape.
Oh, and Orb again going over to Project Horizon. Project Horizon's still having a bit of a hard time maintaining the health advantage, and Wuzak taking all the damage that they wanted to put onto Teldo. And there's the attempt for Teldo, but Teldo once again slips away.
You do have ultimate over on Hot Biscuit.
Yep.
And I do expect to see that coming out, joined with Wuzak's own ultimate. There's the explosive shells flying out from Verosk. He doesn't get much, though. Wuzak will be trying to set up a preparation. You've got 3 ults currently over on Project Horizon, and any one of those could be lethal. There's the in-cap coming through. Venom Wind will come out. There's a nice stun on top of that crippling goop, and the time chopper comes out to save him. Verosk falls to the Infernal Scorch, and now you've got insane focus coming through as best it can onto Mini. Hot Biscuit's doing massive damage. Wuzak, Hot Biscuit, and Blanks now have a man advantage as they traded excellently through that ultimate.
I was expecting that we were going to see the crippling goo after Infernal Scorch, but coming out there, I mean, that was not a bad idea to try to take out Blanks, but Verosk was just in the wrong position. Hot Biscuit could finish them off.
Oh, that could be lethal damage on the crippling, or sorry, on the Venom Wind, and it is. Now a 2v2 and a possible one for Mini and Teldo. There's the Infernal Scorch, though, rendering it impossible if Mini doesn't escape, and he does. All the credit to him. Now he'll be able to heal up at the top of the map. Teldo holds his own in center, and 1v2 for now, but the Deceit will land the in-camp. And the stun, there's the Infernal Scorch combo. That's huge damage, and Mini falls. Excellently played by Wuzak.
I'm very surprised that Mini didn't try to just stay kind of out of the way along with Teldo. Just both of them stay in the back and chip away as best they can. They have healing. Or they had healing, at least. Now with Teldo alone, they don't. But Mini and Teldo together have healing. They don't have to worry about whether or not they're able to win every engagement. They just have to not die and not lose any permanent HP.
And that'll be all for now, as Project Horizon now get their 3rd round, and that was really cool play. At several points, they just look really coordinated when they work. When everything works out, they look so synced up. Yeah,
I mean, that turnaround, too, with the Infernal Scorch, that was a little unexpected. I honestly thought that Telrusk had them dead to rights, but no, it was not quite that clear. And this one, once again, back to the passive play. Although, the center control going to Project Horizon, Telrusk me getting a little timid now.
I mean, both these teams have want to do this. You can see Teldo opening up the action as best he can. Verosk will be joining him. Watch the separation on Mini, though. He's playing kind of passively, and they don't seem to have noticed this thus far, actually. There it goes. Deceit will land 1 in cap. There's the follow-through stun. Wuzak, though, will be instantly shut down by Verosk with an excellent snipe. That's very well played.
That was a great save. I mean, Mini was a little out of position, but Wuzak has been also highly out of position. Not as taken advantage of, but in that one case it didn't work. And, ooh, nice early ultimate coming out there to secure Orb and tear apart everything from Hot Biscuit trying to get in there.
We talked earlier about center control. Now it's kind of shifted. Infernal Scorch damage will come out. Wuzak, or sorry, Teldo actually, is mostly fine though. Wuzak tries to anti-mac. There's the time trouble. There's huge damage coming out onto Mini. He's barely alive after that combo. That was excellently played. And this time, there will be no save coming through from Verosk. It doesn't matter though, because his team's playing excellently, and Mini will be able to escape. Now his ultimate won't be able to secure Orb, but they do have the potential to make a play here.
When's the crippling goo coming out? That's what I want to know. Are they waiting until everyone gets together? There it is. There's the stun and the crit, but it doesn't work. Searing Flight to escape. Still deals some damage though.
There's a nice ultimate though. Excellent explosive shots confirm 1 kill. That Venom Wind should confirm a 2nd though. That's the cross kill coming through. Now Wuzak needs to get in here and finish off Teldo, or at least scare him off so that Blanks can win his own battle, and so far it's worked out. You will see the Venom Wind coming out, lands onto 2. Venom Wind in return for the iframes, actually. Nicely done. However,
no damage, though. Like, no damage to either side. Yeah, between Barrier and the answered Venom Wind, there isn't much going on here that's going to actually be powerful. Oh, but there's the super sneaky part about stealth. Stealth goes through opponents, so it doesn't mean directional shields have a hard time dealing with it, and Teldo taking full advantage of that fact.
Teldo won't be able to land his own stun, though. And
Mini, what are you doing?
He was playing passively, he did an excellent dodge on that, and now he lands the panic, that's huge! Wozak caught out. Now, by the time he gets back into the fight, the damage should have been traded in return. Teldo will be able to land the in cap. There's a nice roll through.
Oh.
Blanks tries to save the day with his time travel, doesn't land though, and panic will drive out poor Wozak. He's got no HP, he should fall. And he's desperately just hiding at the top of the map. Blanks needs to provide healing, but he's too busy trying to save himself. Now, finally, we have the answer back from Wozak, but Mini's dominating him, continually shoving him out to the map. Deceit comes out as a desperate last-second attempt, but Blanks' healer has fallen. So Wozak should join him in a moment. His only hope is this Venom Wind, which he does land onto 2 players, and they both eat the damage, but I don't see how
they don't care. They don't care. They know they've won. It's the thing, like, but actually, not necessarily. Wozak was making that hard. I mean, Teldo and Mini thought they won, but you wanted their comeback? That'd have been a sick comeback.
This game is so incredibly close. Now we're tied up 3-3. Both these teams, every round, going to the final round.
Going to sudden death, yeah, that has been amazing. I'm surprised we haven't seen any crippling goos in sudden death, though. You kind of expect that when you have a Lucy on the team. Teldo, nice escape from that missed read. Still, Teldo's not going to be able to approach, so center control will be in Project Horizon's hands for a little while, but it should turn around as soon as the camouflage is back up for Teldo, which should be now, actually.
Wozak will be hanging out towards the bottom, and that's actually an unfortunate split-up currently on Project Horizon, but that kind of diversity does enable them to secure orb, but they're playing this well. Everyone's disengaging, nobody's committing just yet.
Oh, so seat cancelled so many times because they're not hitting, because everyone's escaping, because everyone knows, oh, hey, Teldo's gone invisible. We better deal with that. But hey, that forced a bunch of outs, so something.
There's a nice dive. Teldo will be able to secure up. Deceit's now up, but Crippling Goo comes through. Blanks is caught inside of it. Veros tries to push it back in with Junk Shot. It doesn't work, but they still get decent damage onto Blanks. Now the only trade comes from that Venom Wind, which gets relatively little damage as the healing from Mini is excellent. Wozak can be brought down to the bottom of the map. Nice stuns, nice silences. And Teldo is not too happy with the amount of damage. Sorry, Wozak's not too happy with the amount of damage he just took.
No. I mean, point out Veros with a junk shot, but Veros' body block was very effective.
There's a double Venom when that does come out, and Wozak eats the damage from it, and it will be the ultimate tearing through and missing everything, actually. Failed Infernal Scorch. Pure Fire will get some damage from Hot Biscuit, but that'll be all. Now Deceit for Camouflage. And nice combo comes through. Wozak doing significant damage onto Mini, but the barrier eats it all up. And now Wozak's the one under threat as Teldo flails away. Mini should know he's coming, and indeed he does. There's the Panic Flask landing onto one. He has ultimate onto the second. That'll be Blanks tied up. Shifting stance does allow an escape. Barosk actually, in the meantime though, has lost his fight versus Hot Biscuit. That could be bad.
Oh, and the ultimate coming out there, and Barosk, I'm sure knows Infernal Scorch is on the way. As soon as Hot Biscuit finds a good opportunity, they still have the meter. The enemy team still knows it, but it's not happening yet. Man, discipline from Hot Biscuit here.
Hot Biscuit playing it very, very intelligently, and they've got such low HP on Teldo.
Oh, the time bender save!
There's the ultimate though. Infernal Scorch does land, and Barosk is dropped very low. The barrier is forced out early. That could be huge because it means that there's nothing to save Teldo, who does fall. Now Veros has no HP. 2 hits will guarantee it, and they do. And it's all down to Mini now. Ultimate Crippling Goo does come out, and actually he might be able to get a nice trade here, but he'll be blinded and thrown out of the arena. He has no EX to roll back in, and he's just being played with. That's just mean.
That was a cruel setup, and now it's match point for Project Horizon. Thanks to that cruel setup. Like, this thing, Ashka has quite a bit of knockback on their attacks. I mean, they always kind of did. But yeah, that's the thing to bear in mind, and boy, did that ever come in handy.
Well, it's match point now for Project Horizon. Tell me. A very good fight on this first map, but being caught out so far, and you can continue to see kind of the group up from Project Horizon. They're playing excellent, like, just coordination has been at an absolute peak for this team thus far.
Yeah, it's worth noting that a lot of the time when Wuzak's doing their camouflage, it's not when they're visible to the enemy, whereas Teldo's doing a lot of times in the open. And that makes it a little bit harder to do by surprise. Although, nice read from Teldo, knowing exactly where Wuzak's going to be. Stopping them from doing any major damage.
Nice, ultimate comes out from mini, that forces out the time travel used kind of defensively to save Blanks' own skin. It will be Wuzak answering back with a Venom Wind Hug, but he misses everything. That could be disastrous now because Verosk is pressing the advantage. Hot Biscuit and Blanks both drop decently low, and you do have Verosk trying to land the snipes. Actually, he's taking sizable damage now from Wuzak. Blanks is also stunned out, but he'll be able to evade most of it. Teldo onto Hot Biscuit does find some success, but both teams are kind of resetting to neutral now. Teldo trying to chase a kill as best he can. Won't be able to confirm it just yet. There's Venom Wind missing everything. The Infernal's going to tell us as well. 2 ultimates dodged. Will be a stun out onto Mini. Some decent damage traded though, which means Telros Me are uncomfortably low. Verosk will be the first victim. He falls. Teldo gets aggressive. He needs this trade kill onto Hot Biscuit. That's the only way they still have a shot in this round, and he can't find it at all. Mini has an ultimate, and that crippling goop does do some damage onto Blanks, but that'll be all time travel combo comes through. Flame Strike lands as well. Mini just absolutely vanishes. And Teldo needs to do something massive with this Venom Wind. He does land it onto one, but enough damage to confirm a kill, and I don't see how Teldo wins this.
Well, the camouflage is their only option. They're out of basically everything else. Everything else is on cooldown. And they should actually have Frogly back up right now. And there it is. Not managing to hit anything with it, though. Getting against a wall is the worst place to be. And the orb does not go to them. And neither does Mesh.
That orb will cost them the first map of this best of 3 grand final. Oh boy, what a grand final it is so far. Project Horizon take map 1. This is, of course, for €150. Winner takes all, as the ESL Go4Battlerite series continues to grow and continues to be an excellent watch. So, thoughts on that first game, Shadow? Both teams obviously playing a similar playstyle, but I really do think Verosk, you know, his role is obviously comparable to Blanks playing over on the Ashka.
You mean Hot Biscuit?
Yeah, Hot Biscuit playing over on the Ashka. Do you think that he's just perhaps not doing as much damage as the Ashka?
I think it's more that Hot Biscuit's being a lot safer. Verosk was playing very forward a lot of the time, and part of that is because Jade kind of has to. Jade does have a lower range than Ashka on their main attacks. It's a little bit harder for them to also deal damage, because once Ashka is able to move during Firestorm, Jade's snipe, while it deals comparable damage, requires Jade to be stuck there for a second and a half. So unless there's already a setup going on in the player, or Jade's way out of the way, there's not much they can do to make that work. And of course, it's a one-shot thing too, compared to what Ashka has, where it's 3 shots that deal like 15, 16 damage each, but you can move while doing them with the proper right. And it's 3 shots.
And it's just been kind of an interesting thing to watch. The other, of course, significant difference between the teams is Mini playing a very utility-focused Lucy versus the older.
Yeah, that being said, though, Blanks is doing a wonderful job punishing any careless plays coming out from Verosk in particular, but Teldo as well. Teldo's had to play around that time bender every single time they've gone for anything. Like, they can't just do a mindless time bender. They have to be very careful when they come in, because sorry, not time bender, mindless camouflage, because Blanks will time bender them out. Like, Blanks knows, oh, they're coming after me. Okay, time bender, bam, stun. We saw that a few times, and then Teldo adapted. However, now we have a much bigger map than the last one. Much more open. It's going to be a lot easier for Veros to position themselves for proper snipes. I mean, it'll also be a bit easier for Hot Biscuit to set up their own plays. So this is going to be tricky.
Shifting on to Skyring Knight. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2. It's Telros Me versus Project Horizon in the grand finals of the ESL Go4Battlerite Cup number 21. This is, of course, the live coverage presented by twitch.tv/Battlerite, RIGHT, on affiliation with ESL or Stunlock Studios, but we do provide excellent casting, or at least I like to think excellent casting, for a ton of different Battlerite events, ESL, namely and primarily. For now, though, we're going to stick with this event. We're not going to discuss too many others. My name's TJ, joined by Shadow as we continue with the matchup. And Project Horizon took map 1. They're certainly eager to 2-0 the series.
Oh, and they might actually already starting out as Teldo going a little bit too far ahead. Should be fine, though. This is an open enough map that it's difficult to get separated from your team. Oh, and there's the Deceit dodging the reads.
Wuzak, his reads have been uncanny so far. Mini, though, reads him, and the Deadly Injection combo drops him decently low on the top of the map. Watch Teldo, though. He suffers a Flame Strike, Quicksand combo, and suffers a fair amount of damage for that. Now the reset to neutral comes through, but Telroskmi have full center control. That orb, if it goes to them, that will be its significant advantage, and they do secure it. That undoes a ton of the HP damage they did, and means they have an EX lead.
A little unfortunate the ultimate came up in the middle of the Flame Strike. Still, there's the Crippling Goo. Where's it going to come out? We probably should see it on blanks pretty soon. The escapes have been used. I don't see Mini using it, though.
It will be a nice Venom Wind landing, but the time travel will cancel it all out. Teldo looks for something onto blanks up top, but Wuzak comes through with the stun. That could be huge damage, but no, Teldo will be able to escape, and he's still here waiting with this Crippling Goo in hand, and could be absolutely disastrous. Nice Crippling Goo to undo the panic, or sorry, to undo the petrify. That'll allow Varosk to escape. But it may only be a temporary scenario. There's the ultimate faked out by Hot Biscuit. He's going to be cancelled. Now it's entirely certain that it's available, though, so Telroskmi are going to play very, very passive as a result.
Yeah, the double ultimates are available, so we could even see time travel into Infernal Scorch. I kind of doubt it, though. We don't see that usually, but it's possible. However, Hot Biscuit... Oh, there it is. There's the time travel, and there's no Infernal Scorch yet. Obviously, had to burn their meter already.
Oh, nice Venom Wind. That's a huge Venom Wind. It will collect damage onto Hot Biscuit. That now forces out his out again. He doesn't have ultimate yet, but it's an early force, and let's see. Still, Wuzak waiting for his own ultimate. He's climbing and just looking for an opportunity to spend it. I do believe he might have found it onto Teldo. There's the Infernal Scorch coming out. The combo should come out now, as all the outs have been burned. Varosk tries for a snapshot, but gets caught out instead. He's dropped so incredibly low. He's managing to stay alive somehow, impossibly. However, finally, he will fall. Wuzak does land the Venom when there's a stun coming through, but Wuzak's going to be the player caught out. He does crumple, and now we're into a 2v2. The panic lands, though, and sends Blanks careening out of the map. There's the Infernal Scorch in answer onto Mini, and Mini crumbles. Blanks and Hot Biscuit will be the players to have a slight advantage now, as Teldo needs to win a 1v2.
I feel like Varosk isn't watching their HP as much as they could, because we are seeing they're doing... It seems like everything's going well, and then Varosk is... Oh, by the way, you're at 1 HP. Dead. And
wow.
That's been clearly causing a lot of issues here.
Oh, Teldo gets petrified. That's likely it, as off the back of that, he's going to be very, very easy to read, and indeed, there's a stray fireball catching him. That'll be 1-0 for Project Horizon.
Yeah, strong start from them. I mean, feels like it is small things, though. It's small things like just catching Varosk out, as Varosk is trying to avoid getting too close because they don't want him to get too much damage because they know that they're getting focused down a fair bit. But also, that's a couple of times, like the ultimate inside the Flame Strike. That ultimate came out right as the Flame Strike happened. That was just Hot Biscuit throwing the Flame Strike down. I don't know why Varosk didn't just cancel the ultimate instead. I mean, they went for the 28 damage. I suppose I thought the trade was worth it. That's all I can think of.
Wuzak will try and close the distance up top, but he can't quite find it yet. He's going to be actually shut down on that push, and that could be bad for Project Horizon because they're losing a ton of early HP, and they don't even get that orb either, as Telroskmi confidently hold center control.
Yeah, 50% meter entirely for Telroskmi here. Teldo's at their ultimate. They might throw out a Venom Wind right now, as everyone's pretty close together, and there it is! Managing to get loads of damage into Hot Biscuit, which really should be their main target at this point. Hot Biscuit has been dealing so much of the damage here. Wuzak's disrupting, but Hot Biscuit's killing.
Varosk needs to build this distance. He does have the ultimate. There's the explosive shots. Chronoflux sends one of them right back to the center, but
two of them.
He will be able to dodge it and still gets decent damage onto Wuzak. The snipe read was almost on point, but new movement speed allowed that dodge to come through from Wuzak, and he still has ultimate. That Venom Wind could be lethal, but what?
Mini got it. Mini nailed that orb. Nicely done.
Wuzak I guess predicting a dodge, but now he's trapped in a crippling goo. Nothing happened from it, and he will fall. Hot Biscuit also fairly low on HP. Over Blanks is the player who's being focused. There's the time travel to build the distance, and he will actually stay aggressive. Time Bender on the defense, but he runs out of that, and runs out of HP too. As just like that, you will see the final kill presumably coming through in a moment. And there it is. Project Horizon finally answered back, and Telros Me are back on the board.
I was getting a bit worried about them.
No.
I thought they were kind of starting to fall apart there, but no, they are still in. They are still playing this. They are still coordinated, and they are still adapting.
No.
Curious if they're going to continue going for Hot Biscuit, though, because that seemed to work fairly well. Force Hot Biscuit to be a little bit more passive, a little bit more careful. I mean, focusing on Blanks worked earlier on, but it seems like at this point, Project Horizon is aware of how to deal with that.
Now we're in a
Nice
bit of a tough situation, because if you pay attention to the center control, has really been what the rounds are hinging on. And Telros Me have been really nailing it this last round and this round as well, as they are able to secure that orb.
And again, at this point, they have 100% HP. They have basically taken no damage at all.
Although
Granted, no permanent damage has done much, but yeah, Teldo, they're finally getting some damage on them, but and Mini as well. Ooh, Mini getting really forward. I mean, that's the thing. Mini is still kind of one of the weaker links. Not necessarily as a player, but you lose your Lucy, you lose the crippling goo, you lose a lot of the healing, or you lose all the healing.
Speaking of crippling goo, though, ultimates available across the board right now for Telros Me. Any of those?
Yeah, I'm guessing we're going to see Venom Wind into stunning, into crippling goo, into ultimate. Sorry, into explosive shots.
Oh, there's the stun coming out onto Teldo. He doesn't get nearly what he wants, but still they get orb. And that, of course, maintains their HP advantage. Veros getting very, very aggressive up top now. There's the petrifying out. That will be a snipe Venom Wind combo. The Venom Wind only catches one now in the backlines. That's Blanks. Veros will have the ultimate, but the time travel is spent mostly on an evasive maneuver. A time bender up, shifting sands away. So no permanent damage dealt. Venom Wind does return, though, and the barrier from Mini eats some, but not all of it up. And there's the first orb, actually, for Project Horizon. Teldo will be kind of caught out as Wuzak's the primary focus. That will be a double petrify coming in onto opposing side, making it 2v2 temporarily. Hot Biscuit does with the ultimate, though. The Infernal Scorch tears through, and oh no! That's Veros stunned on top of the flames, and they burn him to death. Mini will follow, and Teldo's the last alive for his team.
Tries time travel coming out just in time. Actually, the exact frame is Venom Wind, actually, but it's got a long enough cast time that it doesn't really matter. So, well done, Project Horizon, taking that match pretty convincingly. I mean, once we got the split, once it was Telros Me with Teldo in the center and Veros and Mini chasing after Wuzak into one of the start locations, at that point it was pretty clear that there wasn't the coordination right there.
Yeah, Telros Me felt like they got a little bit too overextended there. Is that a fair summation?
Oh yeah, and then of course they have to worry about, well, Infernal Scorch becomes a bit of a problem there too, because they're lined up. So that's an issue. As is Venom Wind. Venom Wind's another thing that'll come up if you're in the lineup like that. Like, everything just plays into Project Horizon's hands if you're inside those small spaces.
Well, keep your eyes on it. As Hot Biscuit tries to build that distance. Nice double petrify does come through off the back of an excellent stone glass, but Blanks is still isolated. Wuzak tries to take him out, but there's the Venom Wind. It gets nothing. Excellent dodge by Hot Biscuit. The explosive shots get some onto Blanks, but he should be able to self-heal and maintain about half HP. It'll be an orb in favour of Telros, but not a solid HP advantage.
Oh, and Mini just using up for a deadly inject. Just about, oh, not the deadly inject, really focusing entirely on those, not going for crippling goos anymore, despite their effectiveness earlier on. That being said, though, center control is still solidly in Telros Me's hands. Wuzak is gonna try to deal with that, and it succeeds.
Veros providing that. There's the ultimate flying through. The Venom Wind won't connect onto Teldo. Mini and Veros will all fall back, and that's kind of the entirety of Telros Me holding the center control, yes, but passively as they watch out for how much damage they could take. There's the Venom Wind flying out. He gets nothing again. Explosive shells will do damage to the Hot Biscuit. The nice Infernal Scorch, though, does land, and there's some decent damage onto Teldo as Hot Biscuit continues to chase, but he himself is low. So this comes down to both teams wanting to do damage, but both being terrified of what could happen if they're bursted down. Wuzak he learns that significant cost as his HP is now basically nil.
Yeah, Wuzek at this point is a snipe and one small combo afterwards away from death. Actually, now a snipe away from death. Not able to hit, though. The snipe is going to have to take a few seconds to get back up. But Wuzek, man, that is scary.
There's the flame strike, that lands, that could be the opening. Quicksand follow through, won't connect. Blanks though, he's got a nice snipe stored up in his time bender, and that will allow some damage to come out. And out the orb, that does go to Project Horizon, that's huge. That builds up a little bit more HP over on Wuzak. He gets a shield as well to his name. It's a nice combo trying to shut him down for good, and Verosk charges deep into the backline. Wuzak suffering sure as the arena shrinks. There's the ultimate, Fertile Scourge tears through. It gets nothing though. Teldo's Venom Wind also gets nothing. Nice time travel comes through, but Wuzak does fall. Now if Mini can be the cross kill, that could be the only answer back as another ultimate comes down. Mini will fall, and it should be another kill onto Teldo as well, and that leaves Verosk in an unwinnable situation almost apart from this ultimate. It could be huge, but oh no, he burns it on a junk shot, and now he's caught out. Now he's isolated, and unless he can somehow win this fight versus a very decent HP Hot Biscuit, he would have fallen.
I thought they had it too. Like once they did the root and went for the smoke pit, I thought, oh, they're gonna be able to just nail Hot Biscuit with a couple clips and they'll be done. But no, Hot Biscuit managed to get away from that. And actually, no, the Stone Glass really did it. Because I figured, oh, maybe it's that Verosk is going in to try to get a stun off of Blast Vault. Because that's a pretty typical thing to do with Jade. You just run in. And Verosk was doing it before. You run in, you try to do the Blast Vault to stun them out, and then you hit them a few times while they're stunned. They can't do anything about it. But they didn't go for that.
In this round, we're building a significant lead for Project Horizon, and Telrosk may have got to be feeling that as they're now only 2 rounds away from losing the tournament. And they're playing kind of passive this round. There's Teldo with the extension. That will get some damage out. Orb secure does go. Getting into Project Horizon as they play this excellently, just kind of grouped up over on their side and throwing out the necessary firewalls to secure that orb.
At this point, Teldo way out of position. They do have their Venom Wind though, not managing to hit anybody. A bit of a bad read. They expected to get Wuzak and didn't manage to do so. Still, though, they are out of position, or they're in position. They're in a good position. They're not going to be wrecked by their opponents.
That will be orb secure and decent HP now almost across the board for Telrosk. Mean that ultimate won't land onto Mini as the Venom damage will be eaten up. Wuzak still kind of chasing over there, but not finding too much success.
Slight misread coming from Verosk on the Blast Vault to try to avoid getting damage, but they do get the orb again.
That's an Eternal Scorch to secure that orb, or at least an attempt from Hot Biscuit. There's the crippling Goo, will land onto none. Time travel will be forced out though, and some decent damage in answer from Wuzak. He's going to be in dire straits though, forced to get those little green HP nuggets, and you can see similar HP over on Hot Biscuit. The chase will be there from Blanks though, and he's going to be able to maintain that close distance and provide the heals necessary to keep his teammates alive, and they get orb off the back of an excellent flame strike from Hot Biscuit. Now it gets back into the real game. Deceit comes through from Wuzak. Mini eats some damage, but not enough to secure his death. This is looking good for Telrosk Me.
And the healing coming out from Telrosk Me has really been making the difference here. Between the healing and getting the health nuggets. And with Blank's fallen, this is basically one last shot from Hot Biscuit to try to turn this around. But they have no ultimate. They have no ultimate. The ultimate orbs are way out of position. They're not even there. There are none left. And Hot Biscuit unable to do anything from that. Telrosk Me are not done yet.
Yeah, Telrosk B back on the board, 2-3, still in the game, still fighting, but I honestly don't think they tactically won that round. I think they just got lucky on a few mechanical plays.
It kind of felt that way. Although I don't know, I think there was some smart disengagement going on there. It felt like it was getting back to some of the earlier Telrosk maybe we're seeing where they were getting in, being careful about when they were needed to get out of there, getting out of there, and then regrouping and getting safe. That's how they're playing originally.
Watch this aggression from Teldo. He goes very deep into the back lines, checking Hot Biscuit, finally gets petrified off the back of it. Orb will be stolen by Hot Biscuit. Nice use of that Chrono Flux to kind of push it around, and then Hot Biscuit nails it with an excellent fireball.
Oh, and the Time Bender, perfect timing on that. Man, it's like, I don't know how, but Blanks just knows perfectly when Teldo's about to hit them. Like, even if there's some movement, even if there's a slight change in speed, it's been so many times that we've seen Time Bender just pop out there, and it's been perfectly timed.
the ultimate. The Infernal Scourge tearing through. Vandenwind follows. Mini's got no HP. He goes down. That's a huge kill for Project Horizon. And now Teldo, he has his own ultimate, but he has no way of converting it into damage. Will go out nonetheless. Blanks takes some and will eat the damage, but he's got enough HP. It really doesn't matter. And Verosk is fighting 1v2. He goes down. Teldo in a 1v3 with no EX meter should follow. Just like that, he does. 4-2 now. Match point, tournament point for Project Horizon.
Yeah, Telrosk Me has been making a very strong showing, but this last couple matches, they've kind of been falling apart. After the first passive style started to fall, it didn't start to work out as well as it used to. It feels like they're not sure what to do anymore. Anyway, at this point, starting out again, being fairly passive, but Teldo rushing in and getting knocked out, way out of position as well. Teldo should be able to disengage, but if they don't and they aren't, that's permanent damage that's very early on.
Blanks holding his own quite nicely here, and Teldo takes that damage like you were talking about. And kind of a reset to neutral does come through, and some nice trading in return. Verosk with his own ultimate hasn't had the need to spend it yet, but he's doing a decent job of just buying time. Teldo, I don't agree with this aggression at all, though, and he eats most of his HP and damage. There are the explosive shots coming out, though, and it pays off in spades. His Mini's ultimate does huge damage. There's the ultimate from Hotbit, get cancelled out, and finally spent. He'll try and secure orb, but he won't even get that. Teldo, in the meantime, is somehow staying alive at the bottom of the map as Wuzak chases him, and finally, Wuzak's the last alive. That was an excellent fold.
That felt like Telrosk to me what we saw at the beginning of this tournament. I felt like they were getting back into form. So, I mean, just what they were doing with Blanks there, they waited until all the outs were out. The Venom Wind was nice to have, but it was waiting until Shifting Sands was used, and Time Bender as well for good measure, just in case the snipe needed to come in. But mostly Shifting Sands. Once that was done and there was no time travel available due to lack of meter, throw down. Just throw in a crippling goo. Finish him off. That was what we've been seeing earlier from Telrosk Me. That's what I wanted to see from them, and I'm glad we saw it again. At least one more time.
Well, we're all down to it now. Yet again, tournament point for Project Horizon. Although, Co desperately trying to stay alive for long enough. Yet another map, and he and Verosk are suffering at the bottom of the map. Teldo still with this aggression. Still, it's working out for him. Wuzak takes decent damage.
They take the orb too. That is, Project Horizon takes the orb. And not a whole lot of damage is being dealt permanently to anyone but Verosk. And Verosk is so much the focus now, getting all the shields from everybody, including themselves.
Nice damage on the Blanks, but there's the ultimate. The Infernal Scourge tearing through Mini. Venomwind in return from Teldo does get some damage onto Blanks. Blanks very low, but the Venomwind onto Mini. He mistimes the roll, and he eats so much damage. The Flame Strike converts the kill, and Verosk and Teldo, they need an answer back, and they need it now. Verosk, he's been caught out, he goes down, and it's all on Teldo for his team's shot in the tournament. There's the Flame Strike combo, there's some ugly damage through the stealth, and that should be all.
Nice dodging from Teldo, though. I mean, they pretty much are hopeless, I will grant that, but they're doing everything they can to avoid what's coming at them, and sadly, it's not quite enough, but
all the
still
credit
well played
to
near
him.
the end.
Like you say, he put on a show. Telrosk Me, their first tournament back in ESL, they take it to the grand finals, and I certainly look to see more of them in future weeks. For now, though, Project Horizon do win. That's been a familiar name at the finals of these ESL tournaments, as they walk away with the full €150 prize pool. And will be, of course, earning those points towards the ESL monthly. Just keep an eye on the stuff over at the ESL site. You can, of course, get there via the !point bracket command to see the ongoing leaderboard for the ESL monthly tournaments and the cash prizes available there. Thank you guys very much for spending your evening or morning with us, depending on where you are in the world. My name has been TJ, joined by Shadow Fury on the casting desk, and the wonderful Drop Bear running the production behind the scenes and being slightly snarky in the Twitch chat. We've had a great time today. We've just been, I don't know, it was kind of a scramble to get the broadcast together today, but we got it all working, and I certainly don't regret it. It's been amazing every week. These ESL tournaments just keep getting better and better and more stacked.
Yeah, it was very much an enjoyable tournament, so I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we did.
If you would like to Find us on the internet elsewhere. You can, of course, find Shadow Fury at ShadowFury333 on Twitter, Dropbar at corrupt_Dropbar, and myself at eSportsTJ. If you'd like to follow Battlerite as a whole, we have a Twitter account at BattleriteWin, where we tweet out all the ongoing broadcasting we're doing. We have a couple different people that we're considering and working on broadcasting for. We should be able to get some of the Brazilian tournaments, notably the Copa America Cup broadcast on this channel, so that should be very fun, and if you're in the NA time zone, I hope that you get to watch that. For now, though, have a good night, or a good morning, and we will see you guys next time.